My sister demanded I babysit her 3 kids during my job interview. "Family comes first," Mom yelled when I refused. I missed the $180K position. A week later, she texted, "Can you co-sign my mortgage? Banks won't approve me a loan." I replied, "Family comes first, but I'm interviewing at the bank that rejected you." Next morning. By the time my mom yelled, "Family comes first," my daughter was standing there in her clean sneakers, clutching her little notebook and trying to pretend she wasn't crying. It was 9:40 a.m. My interview was at 10:30. I was in a borrowed suit, tie choking me, sitting at my parents' kitchen table while my sister paced with her phone pressed to her ear. Her 3 kids ran laps around the living room, already hyped up on sugary cereal. My daughter, Emma, sat on a chair by the back door, swinging her legs, drawing tiny boxing gloves on the corner of a page. "Brian says he can't take them," my sister Kelsey shouted, like we were in a stadium instead of a 2-bedroom house. "His boss called him in. I can't miss this showing, Mom. This is our dream house." Mom looked from her to me, then down at my suit like it was a costume. "Derek can stay. It's just one morning." I checked the time again, 9:41. "Mom," I said, as calm as I could manage, "I have to leave in 10 minutes. Downtown traffic is a nightmare on Mondays. This interview is—" She cut me off with a laugh that wasn't funny. "Oh, come on, you punch bags for a living. This is a real job for your sister. A mortgage broker doesn't reschedule." Emma's pencil stopped moving. I saw it, that little pause. "Mom, this is a real job too. It's $180K, benefits, a director position, at the bank." I tapped the folder on the table where I'd printed my resume and talking points. "I told you that." Kelsey rolled her eyes. "Ugh, you and your numbers. You'll get another interview. I don't get another shot at this house." Her kids burst into the kitchen, yelling something about the tablet dying. One of them bumped Emma's arm. Her pencil line jerked across the page. She whispered, "It's okay," mostly to herself. "I lined up childcare. Miss Ortiz downstairs was going to watch Emma. You told me to bring her here instead, so everyone could see her before you're all fancy. I did that. I showed up. I'm leaving now." I stood up and grabbed my keys. That's when my mom snapped. "Family comes first," she shouted, slamming her hand on the table so hard the salt shaker tipped. "You think some bank cares about you? Your sister needs you. Those kids need you. Emma will understand." She turned to my daughter. "Right, sweetheart? You don't mind sacrificing a little so Daddy can help your cousins?" 4 pairs of eyes turned on Emma. 3 cousins waiting for her to say yes, my mother waiting for her to agree I was selfish if I didn't. Emma tucked her notebook against her chest. I don't know," she whispered. That was the moment. Not my mom's yelling, not my sister's panic. That tiny sentence from a 9-year-old who already thought her needs were negotiable. Kelsey stepped in, delivered the finishing blow. "Honestly, Derek, if you were a real dad, you'd be here instead of chasing some fantasy salary. You owe us. We've helped with Emma too, you know." Emma's cheeks went red. She looked down so hard I thought her neck might snap. They weren't talking to her, but they were talking about her like she was a bill on a table. My throat tightened. My phone buzzed with a "see you soon" text from the recruiter. 9:44. I wish I could say I walked out anyway, that I chose myself and my kid and my future. I didn't. I stood there in my stupid suit with my stupid tie and listened to my mom mutter about how some people forget where they came from, and I folded. "I'll text the recruiter, see if we can push it back." Kelsey let out this huge relieved sigh and kissed my cheek like I'd just saved her from a fire. Thank you, you're the best brother ever. I knew you'd come through." Emma's eyes flicked up to me. There was something like hope there, or maybe it was just confusion. I stepped into the hallway and called. The recruiter answered on the second ring. "Hey, Derek, you on your way?" My mouth dried. "I'm so sorry. Family emergency. I might be a little late. Could we possibly—" I could hear him already shaking his head. "We've got the regional VP sitting in for this one. The schedule's tight. We can maybe do 10 minutes later, but that's it."
I walked back into the kitchen. Kelsey was already grabbing her blazer. Mom was wiping crumbs off the counter like nothing catastrophic was happening. "Go," Mom told my sister. "We'll handle everything here." I watched my sister kiss each of her kids, then toss, "Thanks again, Dee, you're a lifesaver," over her shoulder as she ran out. 9:47. I pictured the drive downtown, 25 minutes on a good day. I'd be walking in sweaty and late. First impression, unreliable. I put the phone back to my ear. "I don't think I can make it," I said. "I'm really sorry." The recruiter went quiet for a second. "We've already had to pass on a few strong candidates to lock this time in," he said. "I'll talk to the team, but I can't promise we'll have another slot. This role is, well, it's big." "I understand," I said. He hung up with a polite, distant, "We'll be in touch." I stared at my reflection in the black screen for a long beat. The guy in the suit looked like an idiot. Behind me, Emma slid off her chair and came to stand next to me. "Did you lose it?" she asked quietly. My chest hurt. "Yeah, kiddo," I said. "I think I did." She looked over at my mom, who was already packing snacks into bowls like this was all normal, at the cousins, already arguing about which show to watch, then back at me. "Is it my fault?" she whispered. That was the humiliation. Not a forgotten gift or a missing pass. My daughter standing in her grandparents' kitchen asking if she was the reason I'd lost a job worth more than anything I'd ever had. And my family didn't even hear her. "I'm Derek. I'm 38. I live in Houston, Texas, in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat that always smells like dryer sheets and burnt dust. By day, and most nights, I'm a boxing coach. I run classes at a local gym, do one-on-one training with clients who want to feel strong or hit something that won't hit back. I love it. It paid my rent, kept food in the fridge, let Emma sign up for art club and karate. But it wasn't stable. No benefits, no retirement. If I got sick or injured, that was it. I'm also the oldest kid in my family. That used to mean example. Somewhere around my late 20s, it turned into wallet. I helped my parents pay off a credit card so they wouldn't lose the house. $4,000. I co-signed my brother's truck loan so he could keep his job delivering medical supplies. I covered Kelsey's daycare bill just this once, which turned into 3 months of $650 transfers. Every time, the script was the same. "We're family, Dee. Money comes and goes, but family is forever." They loved that line. It sounded noble. It also happened to mean I skipped my own dentist appointments and stretched Emma's shoes one more school year so everyone else could keep their cable packages and SUV leases. It wasn't always bad. There were Sunday dinners, birthdays, little moments where it felt like we were just a normal family. But even then, there were signs. Like when Emma's 8th birthday party turned into a combo party for her and Kelsey's middle child, and somehow all the decorations were unicorns because more kids like unicorns, Emma, don't be difficult. Or when my mom decided to hang a big collage of grandkids in the hallway, and somehow Emma's photo was tiny and stuck in the corner, while the others were blown up to 8x10s. "We just ran out of space," she said when Emma noticed. "Maybe next time we'll do a whole frame just for you." Then next time never came. Still, I told myself they were trying, that they watched Emma sometimes when I had late clients, that my dad let her sit on his lap while he watched sports, that my mom saved her extra lasagna. I added up these scraps like they meant something bigger. I should have known better. The banking job was the first time in years I'd seen a way out. One of my clients, a guy named Ian, worked in HR at a big regional bank. We'd been training together for almost a year. He'd seen me juggle my schedule, manage the gym floor, run promotions, talk cranky clients down off the ledge. "You ever think about corporate wellness?" he asked me one night while he was icing his shoulder. "We're opening a full fitness center in our downtown building. They want someone to design programs, lead classes, manage trainers. It pays, well, it's big." "I understand," I said.
We spent weeks polishing my resume. He talked me through the interview process, coached me on how to turn "I run a noisy gym" into "I lead a high-performance team." For once, I wasn't the coach. I was the one being coached. The interview date was set, Monday, 10:30 a.m. I arranged everything. Miss Ortiz downstairs agreed to watch Emma for 4 hours. I bought a shirt that actually fit and an $18 tie Emma picked out. "This one looks like your gym logo, Daddy." I drove by the bank on Sunday to time the parking. Then my mom called. "Why don't you bring Emma here in the morning?" she said. "We haven't seen her in weeks. You can stop by for coffee before your big fancy banker meeting." I hesitated. "I don't want to risk being late," I said. "Oh, we're 5 minutes from the freeway," she waved it off. "We'll make a big deal out of you in your suit. Emma will love it. It'll be good luck. Family around you and all that." I swallowed the unease and said yes. Because that's what I did. I said yes. I adjusted. I made it work. Until that morning, in that kitchen, when their "family comes first" finally cost me something I couldn't get back. We spent that day trapped in my parents' living room. Kelsey left, makeup perfect, blazer sharp, shouting instructions over her shoulder. "They've eaten. No dairy for Noah. The baby naps at 12. Don't let them on the tablet too long. My mom hovered and fussed, then vanished to rest her back, which meant scrolling Facebook in her bedroom. I changed out of my suit and into sweats. Emma watched me like a balloon deflating. By noon, all 4 kids were stir-crazy. I made sandwiches, played referee, changed a diaper I wasn't emotionally ready for. I did the job, because that's what I'd agreed to, I guess. At 2:30, Emma curled up next to me on the couch. "Daddy," she asked, "that job was really a lot of money, right?" "Yeah," I said, not sugarcoating it. It was. Her fingers picked at a loose thread on the cushion. "Would it have meant we could have gotten a house with a yard?" It felt like she'd punched me right in the ribs. "Maybe," I said softly. "Eventually." "Oh," she paused. "Grandma said we're already lucky because Aunt Kelsey lets us use her pool in summer." Right. The above-ground pool they'd bought with part of their tax refund and the money I sent when their AC broke. "Did I make you miss it?" she asked again. "Because you had to watch us?" I pulled her close. "I didn't make you miss anything," I said. "Grown-ups did grown-up things. That's not on you." She nodded, but she didn't look convinced. That night, when we got home, she went straight to her room and drew quietly for an hour. When she finally came out, she handed me a page. It was me in a suit standing in front of a tall building with Dad's Gym/Bank scrawled across the top, her way of combining both worlds. "I made it anyway," she said, "just in case." I put it on the fridge. It stayed there like a small, painful reminder of what I'd let them take. They didn't call about the job. I checked my email like a teenager waiting for a crush to text. Nothing. By Wednesday, I got the polite, "We've decided to move forward with other candidates." They thanked me for my time, hoped we'd stay connected, all that corporate script. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in my hand, and just breathed. I thought about the extra hours I'd have to pick up at the gym to cover school supplies next month, the car that needed tires, the dentist appointment I'd keep postponing. Then my phone buzzed again. "Mom, how'd it go yesterday? They give you that big salary?" Smiley. I stared at the screen. I typed, "Didn't go. Had to cancel, remember?" Then deleted it. Instead, I wrote, "They went with someone else." Typing dots popped up, then disappeared. No apology. No, "I'm sorry, honey." Just silence.
By the weekend, everything was back to normal. Mom sent photos of the grandkids at the park. Kelsey posted a selfie outside a sold sign. Apparently the showing went well. The commission would be good. No one mentioned Monday. I almost convinced myself to move on, to call it a lesson and keep the peace. Then, a week later, on Sunday night, my phone lit up while I was cleaning the gym's front desk. It was a screenshot of a text from Kelsey to my mom, forwarded to me. "Mom, talk to Derek. He won't say no to you." Under it, my mom's new message. "Hey honey, your sister needs a little help. The bank won't approve her mortgage alone because of some silly numbers. Can you co-sign? Family comes first, you know that." I read it 3 times. Co-sign. On a 30-year mortgage, for a house I'd never live in, for a sister who thought my career was a joke, from a mom who just made me choose between their emergency and my entire future. There it was, clear as day. They saw me as a safety net, not a person, not a father trying to build something for his kid, a line on a form that made their lives easier. I didn't respond right away. I finished wiping the counters, I set the alarm, I drove home, the kind of quiet where the engine noise feels indecent. Emma was at the kitchen table when I walked in, working on math homework. Her Dad's Gym/Bank drawing stared at me from the fridge. "Hey, champ," I said. "Ms. Ortiz bring you up okay?" "Yeah," she said. "We had quesadillas. She said she's going to watch that boxing match you like." I ruffled her hair and went to my room. I sat on the edge of the bed, opened my banking app, and scrolled to the family auto pay I'd set up 2 years ago. $600 on the first of every month. My parents called it helping with the little things, electric, water, gas, their streaming services. In reality, it was the difference between me having a real emergency fund and constantly living on the edge. I looked at the payment history. 24 months, $14,400. You could put a down payment on a small house with that. I took a breath and clicked Edit. The options popped up. Change amount, change date, cancel recurring transfer. My thumb hovered for a second, that old familiar guilt pressing down. They'll be mad. They'll say you're ungrateful. They'll say Emma is suffering because you're selfish. Then I remembered Emma asking if she was the reason I'd missed the job. I hit Cancel Recurring Transfer. A red warning box popped up. Are you sure you want to stop this transfer? Yes. I confirmed. The schedule disappeared. I screenshotted the confirmation page and saved it, not to send to anyone, just for me. Proof that this time I'd chosen my household over theirs. Only after that did I go back to my mom's text. I typed slowly. Family does come first. That's why I'm not co-signing anything that takes from my future with Emma. Deleted it. Too polite. I thought about the title of the job I'd almost had, Wellness Director, about the bank's logo, about the recruiter's number still sitting in my contacts. On impulse, I opened our old email thread and wrote, Hi Ian, I know you've probably moved on, but I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Losing out on that interview made me realize I need to start choosing my kid and our stability more than other people's fires. If there's ever anything in your world that fits where I am, nights, weekends, whatever, I'm still here, still grateful. I hit send. Then, finally, I answered my mom. Can you co-sign my mortgage? Banks won't approve me alone. I stared at the words she'd written, that neat little sentence that carried 30 years of expectation. My thumbs moved on their own. Family comes first, but I'm interviewing at the bank that rejected you. I hit send before I could overthink it. The dots appeared immediately. What does that mean? She wrote. Are you being mean on purpose? You're really going to let your sister lose this house over your pride. I locked my phone and went back to help Emma with long division. The next morning, my alarm went off at 5:30. I almost snoozed it. Then I saw the notification. New email from Ian. Derek. Couldn't sleep either, apparently. Funny timing. Our first choice candidate for a different role backed out last night. It's not the director job, but it's still good money and in the same department. Hybrid schedule, training coordination, and in-house classes. If you can be downtown by 9, I can sneak you into a panel today. Interested? I stared at it with my heart in my throat. I walked to the doorway of Emma's room. She was a messy lump under her comforter, hair sticking out in all directions. Hey, Bug, I whispered. You want pancakes for dinner? She mumbled something that might have been yes. Okay, I said. I'll make it happen. I texted Miss Ortiz. Emergency favor? Need to be downtown by 9. I'll pay extra. She replied instantly. Drop her by at 8 and bring coffee. I put on the same borrowed suit, same $18 tie. This time, no detour to my parents' house. No showing off, no guilt. On the drive downtown, my mom called twice. I let it go to voicemail. At a red light, a text popped up from Kelsey. Mom says you're refusing to help after everything we've done for Emma. Are you serious right now? I didn't answer. I parked. I went into the bank. I shook hands that smelled like expensive cologne and lived in confidence. When they asked about my current situation, I told the truth. I run a boxing program in a neighborhood gym. I manage classes, client retention, trainer schedules, community outreach. I'm a single dad. I'm used to high emotions, long hours, and making sure the people around me leave better than they came in. They smiled. Halfway through the panel, my phone buzzed in my pocket, vibrating against my leg. I ignored it. I walked out an hour later into the cool air of the lobby, sweating in my suit, but lighter. My phone showed 3 missed calls from Mom, 1 from Kelsey, a string of texts. Mom, the bank said no again. They said they already flagged Kelsey's file. How could you do this to us? Kelsey, you told them you were related, didn't you? This is insane. You're ruining my life because you had a bad day last week. I didn't correct her. I hadn't spoken to anyone about her file. If the bank had flagged her, that was between her and her choices. What I had done was walk into a building that could pay me enough to stop being at their mercy. A new email slid in from Ian. You free to talk this afternoon? Panel liked you. A lot. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. The fallout at home was immediate and loud. By the time I picked Emma up, my mom had left a voicemail that started with crying and ended with rage. How dare you say you're interviewing at the bank that rejected us? You're mocking us. You think you're better than us now? We took care of you, Derek. We watched Emma when you had nothing. We deserve this support. Then, lower, that little girl would be lost without us. That's what got me. Emma was in the back seat, crunching on the last of a granola bar, humming under her breath. Lost?
without people who made her feel like she was a line item?
I deleted the voicemail. At home, while she did homework, I sat at the kitchen table and typed one last text to the family group chat. I won't be co-signing anything. I've also stopped the monthly transfers. I have a child to take care of, and I won't keep funding a family that treats her like an afterthought. Please stop asking me for money. If you want to see us, you can reach out to spend time with Emma, but I'm not your backup bank anymore. I hit send. I put the phone face down. Within minutes, it buzzed nonstop. Mom, so you're punishing us? Kelsey, nice. Guess you really chose money over family this time. My brother, Mark, the only one who rarely asked for anything, sent a shorter one. I get it, man. I'm sorry it took this long. If you ever need me to watch Emma so you can work, I'm here. I stared at that one for a long time. Over the next few weeks, things shifted. The bank offered me the job, not $180K, but $135K plus benefits and yearly bonuses, more than enough to get us out of one busted tire equals crisis territory. My hours were better. Mornings at the bank, some evenings still at the gym because I loved it. Health insurance that covered Emma's asthma meds without me arguing on the phone with a stranger. I opened a savings account with her name on it. Automated transfers into that, not out. My parents didn't show up to the gym anymore. They didn't come to Emma's next art show. They didn't text, "How's Emma?" They only messaged when a bill was due. I ignored anything that had a $sign in it. One Saturday afternoon, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Kelsey standing there, makeup smudged, no kids in sight. "You're really not going to help?" she asked, skipping hello. "They raised the interest rate. If I don't find a co-signer, we lose the house. The kids will have to switch schools. Is that what you want for your niece and nephews?" I stepped out onto the porch and pulled the door mostly closed behind me so Emma wouldn't hear. I want my daughter to grow up without thinking she has to bleed herself dry so other people are comfortable. I'm sorry the bank said no, but they said no, not me. She scoffed. "They only said no because you didn't fight for me. You're in with them now. You could fix this." "I'm not in with them," I said. "I'm an employee. And even if I could, I wouldn't. I'm not attaching my name to 30 years of payments you've shown you can't handle. That's not love. That's stupidity." Her eyes filled, but there was steel under it. "Mom was right. That job changed you." "No," I said. "Missing the first one did." She shook her head and walked down the stairs. "Don't come crawling back when you need us," she threw over her shoulder. I almost laughed. When exactly had I ever needed them for anything other than guilt? I went back inside. Emma was on the couch, drawing again. "Was that Aunt Kelsey?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, sitting beside her. "Adult stuff." She nodded, then held up her drawing. It was 3 people at a kitchen table. Me, her, and Miss Ortiz. Pancakes stacked high, little speech bubbles that read, "Pass the syrup," and "This is awesome." No more sad bank pictures, just us this time. I felt something loosen inside my chest. Our first holidays after the job were in our tiny place. Emma and I put up a crooked, fake tree and ate too many cookies with Mark's family and Miss Ortiz. I gave Emma an envelope, a spring trip to a cabin, just us and the people we like. "Do we have to invite Grandma?" she asked. "No," I said. Later, she drew 2 stick figures by a cabin and titled it Our Family. And for the first time, that felt like enough. Derek's story breaks me because one phrase from a 9-year-old, "Is it my fault?" shows the cost of family manipulation better than any numbers. What really happened? This wasn't a family emergency. This was a system where Derek was trained that his needs always come last. Mom screams, "Family comes first," but she only means Kelsey's family. Derek's $180K interview? You punch bags, that's not a real job. Kelsey's house showing? Real job, can't reschedule. The genius of the manipulation. They made Emma part of the pressure. Emma will understand, right, sweetheart? A 9-year-old shouldn't decide if dad loses a job for her cousins, but they put her in that position, then watched her whisper, "I don't know," already trained that her needs are negotiable. The real lesson. Family comes first becomes a weapon when it means your family comes last. Derek paid $600 a month, equals $14,400 over 2 years, skipped dentist appointments, stretched Emma's shoes another year so relatives could keep cable packages and SUV leases. When he finally said no to co-signing a 30-year mortgage, you chose money over family. No, He chose the daughter who drew dad's gym/bank and said, "I made it anyway, just in case." A kid already learning to make herself smaller for others' comfort. When does family comes first stop being love and start being a demand to sacrifice your child's future? And how many times must someone choose you last before you realize you were never family, just a safety net? Derek canceled the autopay and chose his daughter. That's not cruelty, that's parenting. Have you had family first that meant you last? Drop your stories below.